Alright, so it's right before 4 a.m. It's Sunday, and it's time to do them floors. Fingers crossed I'll actually get to putting a couple of pieces of the rig together up, so because I want at least some of it up and bolted, so this way we can use it for warm-ups at least. But anyways, let's stop yakking and get this party going. So another thing too is, if you're wondering why don't I just drag those from there and put it over here, why do I want to shift the whole pattern? Part of the issue is that these mats are not exactly 3/4, like they're 4x6, or rather they're pretty much 3/4, but they're 4x6, but there's quite a bit of margin of error for them. So if I start shifting them around, a lot of times they start creating weird holes and whatnot. Now, I know this works because it's already been laid out for 3 years, so I don't have to change it. If I just drag it this way, I know everything will line up. Alright, so the first line is all moved, everything lines up, and then it'll terminate right here. So this way, this is the last platform on the rig, plenty of room for your barbell and stuff. And then right here, the squat stand will come out to roughly here or so, the rig piece rather, because it'll be on the short uprights. And then so right here will be the extra platform. Now, if this will be a spot and somebody with the barbell there, if they're trying to both Olympic lift, they might be a little tight. But most of the time I'm feeling that this will be squats, bench press, extra pull-up, all that kind of stuff area, and sometimes Olympic lifting. But overall, I'm quite happy with it. Plus, once this main floor is done, I'm gonna see how I can line up. I'm actually gonna try to move this guy a little bit more like this way so that we have a better clear line of sight and we don't have to line up dead this one with this one, but I just kind of did it to mock up and see how this would look in this area. So overall though, that did not take too long. It's only 5 or 6. So I'm gonna move the rest of it, but fingers crossed, it's all the nooks and crannies is where it gets hard, and this floor I will not get away as easy because I do have to cut this one up. And again, this is the same thing. It's already all inlined and cut around all the corners right here and so forth. Same thing there. So all the nooks and crannies take a while. So I'm going to try to make my job somewhat as easy as I can, but we're going to see if that's even possible. So but let's keep dragging the mats and I'll update in a bit. All right, other than that slightly raised corner, which I'll step on in a second, looks pretty decent. Obviously that corner is not finished because I got to decide what I want to do with that now. But one thing I want to demonstrate here, so that's better, is that these gaps they're not too big, they're pretty consistent. I mean, to a certain extent you can get rid of them because you can see like the mat touches here, but there's a slightly bigger gap there. However, by the time we get to this end, even though it all lined up pretty well already, like notice this kind of fault line running. And so because the mats are slightly out of square, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the sledgehammer and I'm gonna bang up on the slight corners and kind of stack everything in, so this way it all will compress this way and the whole thing will compress going that way, which will take a little bit of time. But then once we're starting to lay out all that side, because we're going to have to recut it to butt up against the windows there, all these gaps are going to stay tight once we redo it. Because even though it's a lot of work, I'm redoing all those floors anyhow, so I might as well do it right. So let's do that. So since the mats were already all nice and laid out, you would imagine that it was all gonna line up, but never works quite that way. So we can see that up to about here, it's all good to go. And then once we're there, so this is almost like a 2-inch, not quite, it's maybe like 1.5 inches, 1.25 crack. But you know, that's not acceptable. And then it would have not really moved too much because of the rig, it would have been bolted down, but we're going to do it. We might as well take the opportunity to do it right. So now that we're going to be changing the layout, we will butt everything up to here and make sure it's all cut in properly at the wall, and there'll be no gaps like that here. And then start inlaying the 2-foot diamond mats here. I actually have enough to do the 4 feet, but then the problem is that the workout area will start kind of creeping into the hangout, and I kind of mocked the table up and it wasn't going to work very well. So as much as I don't like cutting, I'm going to cut some of these mats. These are a little over 2 feet, so I'll make them 2 feet and I'll cut these. And we're going to run this line here and then make a straight line of these nice flat mats all the way across. And then the rest will kind of fill in with however it goes. I'm not sure yet. In case you're wondering about why is there so many piles, so those are like 2 by 8 feet. This is roughly 2 by 6, but not quite. That's a little bit bigger than 4 by 4. That's 4 by 4, 2 by 4, 4 by 6, but these are like the burned ones. This one is almost good, but now that it's under the line, I can see the line right here. Whereas, see, like these are quite a bit more smooth. I mean, there's a little imperfections here. But so I want all these nice, newer, smooth ones kind of in this warm-up nice area. And then some of the other ones I'll kind of stick under the fridge and under the rowers, bikes, tables, stuff like that. So this way it'll be all uniform. So I'll relay it and start cutting these mats and see how it goes. So one thing I want to show as well, since we're on the topic of trusting no one. So these mats are actually quite true. I'm pretty sure I haven't measured for a while, but I think they're 4 by 6. However, they're square, but I just showed that they're a little bit smaller. So what happens here is that, well, look, this is 4 by 6, 4 by 6, 4 by 6. So 3 of them is 12 feet by 6 wide, and this is 2 feet wide, but doesn't matter. It's 6 foot long, 6 foot long. So this should be 12 and 12. However, if we look here, we realize that obviously that's off by about 1.5 inches, just like I showed that each mat is about 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch short. So then we go further, and by the next mat, the gap has now widened. So now it's all the way to about 3 inches. So about, you can see, yeah. And so that starts happening now. I got mine, obviously, it's a line of flat mats, and there'll be a whole line. So it won't really matter by the end, and I'll cut in somewhere on that corner, so it'll obviously bunches up to the wall nice. But it's something to be aware of when you're dealing with all these different mats, that they're all slightly different. So I like dealing with different mats, even though a universal kind of just buy all these and mat the whole place is a noble idea, but I don't like that because I like having platforms inlaid on like wood ones. I'm actually getting rid of that one. And I like that you come in, these are nice flat mats, that's warm-up area. Under the fan, we got our table, fridge, hangout area, bikes rower. And then there's a different flat mat there. It's all delineating the bathrooms, kids' room, storage, office. Front door, this mat, it was a little longer, I just cut it. And then I inlaid with a full mat. And the line doesn't line up. So you think I'm gonna leave it alone? Or am I gonna shift the whole line over so that it all lines up? All right, I couldn't help myself. Alright, so Ishmael decided to show up and help out for a couple hours, so I'm gonna give him the best part, aka we're gonna move the dumbbells. We'll free up, there's a couple of things in front of it. But the dumbbell area is pretty much all set up. What, Brokeback Mountain already? How this happened, but somehow, even though I moved everything, the feet are way over. So I mean, when I'll be editing the video, I'll probably see the error of my ways or something like that, which I don't remember happening, but this is, I was about to put the rig up before Ishmael has to go, and next thing you know, this thing ain't straight whatsoever. So, I mean, obviously the easiest thing to do would be to start kind of moving these mats slightly that way and fill the gap in. Maybe that's what I did. Maybe I pulled out a piece and then kind of bumped it up. But I'm not sure what happened. So what we're gonna do is we'll put the rig up, just shift it over here because I can walk it one person at a time. And then I'll sort out all this floor and junk because that ain't right. So, because this will be a hella crooked rig. So I'm dirty, the gym is dirty, but I'm coming tomorrow in the morning. For now, it's 0:59 o'clock, whatever that is. I think it's 4:30 actually, so I've been here since pretty much 12 hours straight, 12 and a half, something like that. But thanks to Ishmael for helping out, and Kid helped me out. It's gonna be a better process in the video for this whole thing, but so far everything came out real nice. I definitely love. I'm gonna flip the camera real quick. Much more useful space, and with the extra 2 feet, you can't even tell that the warm-up area is smaller. It actually looks bigger, but now we have actually 2 extra feet for the workout area. Boy, it's so dirty though. Anyways, Monique's gonna kill me if I stick around here any longer. We're gonna take a Russian shower real quick. I was gonna take the actual real American shower, but then Monique said, yeah, enjoy your cold pool, so challenge accepted. I will jump in, even though it's what, January 12th. Stock probably should not jump in, because otherwise he will, sometimes when it's cold out, he starts sneezing real funny and whatnot. But anyways, I'll give the phone to my unwilling or somewhat unwilling volunteer, and she will laugh at me once I jump in. Don't. That'll be my next project once I recover from the gym. This is dirty as hell. Alright, I was too dirty for the real Russian shower, and the towel ended up actually being all really dirty, so I took a real American one. But the real question is, am I wearing pants? That's the real question.